And so to speak to us is Dr. Amon Kasambala, who is the moderator of the Ethekwini Presbytery of the Uniting Presbyterian Church of Southern Africa. He's also a leadership and management consultant. He holds a diploma and a bachelor's degree in theology and development from Justo Mwale University, Zambia. He has a master's in social sciences and a PhD in social sciences from Stellenbosch University, South Africa, and a postdoctorate certificate in neuroscience, executive coaching, and leadership. Dr. Kasambala also served as an ordained minister in 1991 to 1998, growing a congregation from 120 members to 2,200 members, a legacy that gave growth to more than 6 congregations out of 1. He has also lectured at the University of Justo Mwale University between 1998 and 2003. Between 2003 and 2012, he was the CEO of Focus on the Family, a global Christian organization growing into 26 Sub-Saharan Africa across between the west coast and the south part of Africa. 1991 to 2012, he had also served as a ministry in different capacities, a synod moderator, presbytery of the Zambian moderator, convener of the church growth, and many other committees. He has facilitated and chaired many church-related forums, commissions, ministry interventions, including conducting impactful seminars, workshops, and trainings for parachurch organizations and ministries in Africa and across the globe. He founded the Global Advisory Plan Services, GAPS, a leadership and management consultancy focusing on supporting businesses and organizations on leadership development, strategic imperatives, including facilitating executive coaching and mentorship programs. Dr. Kasambala was a private advisor to the President of Zambia on social economic development between 1992 and 1998. He was presented a guest lectureship at Princeton University, New York, New Jersey, USA. He's also helped establish a children's home with over 300 children called Ithemba, and he is doing an amazing job. He's been also a private advisor to another president of Zambia. He has also been invited by the United Nations to nations diplomats in New York, USA, where he presented a paper on changing global policies affecting families in emerging economies. Dr. Kasambala is married, and he has also written various papers on international journals, on LinkedIn, and other social media. Time fails me to read for you the entire profile of this great man that I have known, and he's coming to speak to us. And so we want to invite Dr. Kasambala to come and just give us a keynote at this moment. Welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May I say good morning for those of you who are joining us from other parts of the world. I'm very much aware that, what I call the invisible audience is very much live. Yesterday when we finished, the conference, the Facebook was very busy, the YouTube was very busy, the Zoom was very busy, showing that there is an audience there that we can't see with our eyes as we are seated here, but they can see us, and then they can be part of us. So we want to welcome whatever audience is out there joining us this afternoon for us here in Kenya. May I say thanks to the organizers of this Lead Summit Conference, to Brother Kingston, yes, who I've known for quite some time now, or for many years, since 2005, together with his wife Tabitha, very good friends of myself and also my wife Tiba. And then also to Dr. Barina, who I have come to know recently. Actually, when I looked at this name, I started, practicing how to pronounce it, because I thought it was a Scottish name. So I thought it was, Bahrain, So when I came and I met with him, I said, how are you? Are you Dr. Bahrain? He says, no, I'm Dr. Barine. It's a Kenyan name. So, yeah, this brother really confused me. It is really humbling to stand before you, ladies and gentlemen, both in this room but also on the media platform, and speak on this topic which others have well articulated from the time that we started meeting yesterday. All the speakers that spoke here, all the panels that we have held so far have really spoken well on this particular topic. The overall theme, Lead in Crisis, Reimagine the Future. The challenge of being the last speaker at a conference is to try to pull all these things together. And I'm not promising you anything, but that's what I'll try, in my humble way, to try to pull all these things together and make sense of what has been said. My part is to talk about lead into the future and how to prepare for the unknown. For many years, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, world explorers were kept from going beyond the horizon by a long-time fear that they had for what could be on the other side of the horizon. They feared that there were dragons. They feared that there were monsters beyond the geographical boundaries they had little knowledge about. And they came to believe that the earth had a horror at the end of South America, of Southern Africa, and South India. Thus, they kept themselves along the shores of West and North Africa to explore what was there. Because in their mind, the further you go down Southern Africa, you end up into this cave where the monsters and their dragons waiting to swallow you up. And for so many years, the explorers of the world believed that story. And it kept them exploring worlds other than the worlds that they were very comfortable with. Not until some brave and daring young explorers declared to themselves, let there be dragons. Let there be dragons there. We are going to find out. Even if those dragons swallow us, at least history would write about us that there were young explorers who dared the dragons. Ladies and gentlemen, a daring and courageous leadership that declares, let there be dragons, is what you two take to explore the unknown future, but also to lead into the unknown future. Right from the onset of my presentation, I want to declare here a daring and courageous leadership that declares, let there be dragons, is what it will take to lead into the unknown future. Gathered in this room and gathered on the media platform are ladies and gentlemen who have come to know what it means to be daring and courageous as they envision their future, as you envision your future. Some of us who are gathered here on the platform but also in this room can testify to the fact that we are here, there were some people who dared the dragons. There were some people who dared the monsters. Our parents, our guardians, they dared these monsters of poverty. They dared the monsters of economic upheavals. They sent us to school against all odds. Why? Because they believed in the possibilities of the unknown. They believed that whatever they were doing at that time was preparing for the future they had little idea about. And the result, what is the result of that daring and that courage? The result is the achievement and the business success and the entrepreneur successes that we have gathered in this room and gathered on the media platform. The kind of leadership acumen that we have as a result of those who dared the dragons out there. Leading into the future and preparing for the daunting task of the unknown is what will differentiate. Leadership that reimagines the future with the kind of leadership that is just contented with the usual. Unfortunately, the latter will find itself wanting in many aspects. It will find itself wanting in terms of tasks, in terms of skills, in terms of talents, in terms of abilities that are required in their known future. So we may choose not to dare the future. We may choose not to take a courageous step into the future. But what will be the result? It will be to our own detriment. So may I suggest, in exploring this topic leading into the future and how to prepare for the unknown, may I suggest the following preparation process and leadership abilities that we may require to lead in the future. Number one is what I call managing the known and starting from where you are. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to know how to manage what we already know and starting from where we are. C.S. Lewis wrote, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending." You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the meaning. In this quote, C.S. Lewis is saying we need to prepare for the unknown and to be effective in our leading into the future. We need to start by managing the known well as a forum of preparation for what lies beyond the horizon. Managing the known well. I would like to contend and to argue that the current realities of the impact of coronavirus, which we have come to call COVID-19 pandemic, are enough to get us started with the preparation of the unknown. Emerging from this pandemic, our economies have taken a huge knock. Our political landscape for most of the part of Africa and the rest of the world seems to be in troubled waters. And currently, our religious and church commitments seems to be on the tipping point. It is in managing these current realities well that will set us on the right footing for their known future. Making sure that we use every opportunity that has been talked about here, every opportunity thrown at us by COVID, by this what we call, the crisis of COVID, together with the tumbling world economy, to revisit our models, to revisit our systems, to revisit our structures, to revisit our methodologies of what we call postmodern era that we have become familiar with. What am I saying, ladies and gentlemen? Starting where we are and managing the current realities does not mean continuing with the same way of doing things. All it means, I suggest, is that we should pay attention to what is evolving around us and ask ourselves a question. We ask this question: what lessons and opportunities am I being presented with by this current reality which can help me prepare for the unforeseeable? How we manage this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, will also determine our readiness in managing the unknown future. We can't be talking about the future if we don't know how to manage what we have now. We can't start from where we have never been. We start with where we are and where we have been. What then do we need to start managing the future world as a preparation for the future? May I suggest the following, and I'll be very quick on this. Number one, some of the things have been spoken about here, and I want to reemphasize that. Number one is systems. We have advanced in IT systems and other sophisticated 21st century innovative discoveries. However, the fifth industrial revolution with its AI or artificial intelligence systems seems to be driving us into the unknown. Let's manage this well. I mean, just this conference is one of the first conferences that I've attended after post-COVID, where you have the hybrid, interaction. People that are online and people that are present here. I've attended a number of meetings, since 2019, but those are board meetings, very small meetings. But this conference, actually, unless they show online where they are, you may never know who is part of us. Just this morning, Dr. Barin was mentioning, one person from West Africa, sent a word. And these are not registered anywhere. They have come across, the link, and then they've gone into it, and then they're part of the conference. The question is, do we have the right kind of systems required to support our business innovations, organization life cycle, political landscape, and social development impetus? Do we have the right kind of systems? If you don't invest in systems, I think time has come for us to invest in systems. It was a most wake-up call in 2019 when corporate business started panicking because people could not report for work, but work had to continue. I remember because I do executive coaching. By the way, I wear 3 hats as I was introduced here. I wear the hat of ministry because I've been very much involved in ministry. I wear the hat of business because I've been involved in business. I wear the hat of academics. I've been involved in academics. So these are 3 worlds that I live in. So looking at the business world, you find that these executives were phoning each other in a panic because their businesses demanded that they continue the business, but then they never knew how to operate the systems. They were far off. There were those businesses that denied completely, to invest in systems. It was really such a wake-up call. You never realize until maybe when we begin to capture these stories, Brother Kingston and Dr. Barin, of how these executives managed that time. I remember being told of crash courses that some executive had to go into 3-week or 2-week crash course just to know how to operate IT systems, how to be on Zoom, how to manage, all these, systems. So what am I saying to you? Let's start where we are and let's start with our systems. Second is the structures. Structures, be it political, religious, or economic, have all changed since COVID-19. The structural changes happening all over the world call for what I call a level-headed leadership, so as not to jeopardize what we are seeing as an emerging new era of structural form. You may be still holding to what worked, but ladies and gentlemen, as we cross over into the future, what worked may not work any longer. And we need to come to terms with that. We need to make peace with that. Otherwise, we may be flocking a wrong horse. Allowing ourselves to critically look at existing organization structures and be ready to revisit them will be the best place in preparing for the unknown. Then the other thing is methodologies, challenging ourselves on how we have done things in the past. Not only in the past, of how we are still doing things today. It is very key to strategically positioning ourselves for their known future. A huge lesson from COVID for me was that the normal way of dealing with the pandemics, the way we have dealt with the pandemics around the world, was challenged by this unannounced arrival of the unknown virus. And that challenge never just remained in the medical field. That challenge crossed over into the business world, into the church ministry, into the political landscape. It has affected everything. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to prepare adequately for the future. It is very, very important that we prepare for the future. So what I'm saying here is, let us begin to manage what we have, and let us start from where we are already. I think it's very, very, very important. All right? Secondly, I want to say we need to know how to respond positively to what I call disruption. Disruption. Allowing disruption to be part of the process of preparing for the unknown is inevitable. The future will be like what I call organized chaos. Organized chaos. And what is organized chaos? A complex situation or process that appears chaotic while still having enough order to achieve progress or goals. So what you may call chaos, in the future, it is organized chaos, because we will still achieve the results at the end of the day if we manage, this organized chaos. So what am I saying to you? In preparing for the future, we need to know how to respond to organized chaos, which is now becoming popularly known as disruption. Leading into the future requires the ability to allow disruption to become part of discovering a new future. Are you being challenged by the disruption in your company, in your business, in your church? I think this is what we have come to call as crisis. It is a crisis because it disrupts the way we have been used to doing things. But my suggestion here is we need to embrace disruption. It has come to stay. Things will never be the same. I'll give you a few examples of some of these disruptions. In information and communications technology, which we call ICT, which you've already seen here. I mean, we are communicating, with the US. Our brother Tom, came, online and joining us in the US. This is a kind of disruption that, we need to embrace. He's not going to be in the room here, but he's going to be here. And business continues. Denying that and waiting for our brother to be on the flight or to be on the plane to join us will never happen. It was easy in the past. Just jump on the plane and then there you go. This is one area that we should begin to embrace the disruption that is happening. A lot still needs to be discovered in information and communications technology, making it a continuous disruption to the world that we are used to. Leading into the future, ladies and gentlemen, entails not only learning about the disruption, but also embracing it, making it as part of the new normal of life. At the peak of COVID-19, like I said, a lot of businesses and organizations that paid little attention to information and communication technology learned the hard way. Let's not wait to learn the hard way. Churches that denied the reality and the existence of IT learned the hard way. And some of them now, they are buried. May their soul rest in peace. The other disruption that is coming on the horizon and is seen like a dragon and a monster is what we call AI, the artificial intelligence. The ability of a digital computer or computer-controlled robot to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings called human beings. This is a disruption. And some of us, we're worried. We're worried about our jobs, that they will be taken. But instead of worrying, ladies and gentlemen, may I suggest to you, let us embrace it. Let us use it for our own good. Let us use it not to advance human endeavor. Let us use artificial intelligence because it has come to stay. It may not be in our room today, but it is on the horizon. And if you fear it as a monster and as a dragon, I want to say, well, that dragon is not far away from you than you think. It is here. It is beckoning on our job. So what should we do? Should we run away like the first explorers and deny the reality of the existing world that we don't know about? Or should we be the daring young explorers who say, let there be dragons. Let there be AIE. I'm coming. I'm not shaken. You come. I'm going to use you for my own benefit. I'm going to use you for my ministry. I'm going to use you for my church, for my business organization. I'm going to use you for whatever that you are involved in. AI is here to stay. So we need just to manage it. Because I'll give you an example. AI is now being used in surgical, what we call surgical operations in the medical field. It is being used to operate, on people where machines, in the past could not reach in terms of our body makeup. AI is being used to do that. Very, very interesting. AI is being used to diagnose diseases based on patients' symptoms. So you show symptoms. You don't need the doctor to start, figuring out how whatever. AI will show exactly where that symptom is leading to. That's a scaring dragon. But it's a dragon that we can use. But don't just limit in medicine. Have an open mind because it can be used to our own benefit. The Group 7 countries that met in Canada in 2018 pledged to promote what they call the human-centric AI. And I think, this is what I'm propagating here. Let's support that which we can use for the benefit of human being. The third point that I want to make here quickly is developing what I call new investing mindset. If we are to prepare for the future, let us begin to develop what I call a new investing mindset. Shebi Davis is well known for his saying, and I quote, "Invest for the long haul. Don't get too greedy and don't get too scared." Leading into the future, ladies and gentlemen, requires a new mindset on how we invest. While we currently have reduced investment only to the financial, sector, investment speaks to a wider spectrum. That's what the future is calling for. So it's not just in the area of finance, it's in many areas. And I'll give you examples. Education system calls for a new investment mindset. We can't do education the way we did it in the 60s, with due respect. We can't do education the way we do it in the 70s. Can I continue? The way we did it, in the 80s. That's where I come in there. The way we did it in the 90s. So I'm already history. I have two sons. One is at the university doing BCom in business sciences, and the other one is at the high school. And they're challenging me the way we did education. Daddy, no, that does not work. That does not work. Of course, we don't throw away the platform that was put in us. But let us not kid ourselves that the education that we got, ladies and gentlemen, I think a number of you gathered here, I know they're young people, is going to be the same. If we do that, are we surprised how many postgraduates, graduates with honors degree, with master's degree, are still walking the streets? Because that paper now means nothing. So therefore, the challenge that we have in preparing for the future is that we need to relook and revisit our education system. This is an area that is calling for a new investment. We need to invest something in this. That one approach of having just one type of preparation, like, when I was at high school, I already started knowing what I was going to do, and therefore I was preparing for that. So it was like a one-path career way. That is not working. Education system now demands that you have different ways of looking at things. You can't just prepare to be a lawyer. You need law, you need business, you need other things to qualify for certain jobs. So that is the challenge that we have. So those of you who are in the education sector and you have interest in this, my challenge to you is, how are you doing education? Are you kidding our children that education you're giving them is going to take them through into the future? Stop kidding our children. Tell them the truth. It's time to invest in this area of education. The second part of investment is what we already know, what I call the financial investment. And I know there are financial gurus in this room and also on the platform. So I don't want to kid myself that I'm a professor in this. I'm not. But what I'm saying to you, that the fluctuation or the fluctuating economies and high inflation that we're experiencing around the world is a cause of major concern among investors today. Techniques that we used in investing are proving to fail. Experts will tell you. There are new techniques that they're bringing to the fore to try to invest, in terms of, the financial markets. Because the financial markets are trembling, all the way. So how do we invest, into the future? You can't put your monies under the pillow and expect it, to overnight, just, to boom, there it is, it's grown. So there are certain techniques that are coming, but also into the future, there are challenges. I mean, the cryptocurrencies that we talk about. This is a disruption that has come into the financial world. I mean, they are regulating it now, but when it started, it just threw banks, all over. But those who are clever, they have managed to channel it to be used, for the benefit of humanity. This is another area we need to look at. How are we investing into the future? How are we investing into the future in terms of the finances? It has been said, and quite too often, during the past 2 years of COVID-19 pandemic, that it can't be business as usual. We risk everything we have worked for if we do not change ways of investing in terms of the finance world. Then the other aspect, of investing is what I call environmental ecosystem investment. Their known future demands that we invest heavily in our environment, in our ecosystem that governs the environment. Climate change is currently shouting at us to do something about investing in the environment, so as to have a better world for our children and children's to come. This type of investment cannot be procrastinated, ladies and gentlemen. It must happen now and today. We must protect the environment from degradation caused by fossil fuels, plastic, bad agriculture methods. Otherwise, we'll continue to pay a huge price. And worse enough, risk our entire future generation. This is another area. If we are to prepare for the future, let us intentionally begin to invest in our environmental ecosystem. Then the last one that I want to mention there is what I call political capital investment. And I want you to hear me here. I know I'm at a time, here in Kenya where you are preparing, for elections. Is that true? That's where we are. So this is very fresh, in your mind. Political capital investment. The future requires that we start investing now in political capital. We can't wait for politicians to emerge from what we call freedom fighting front. That time is past. The giants of freedom, they are gone. We have a new crop of politics that needs a proper investment, a new style, a new approach of investment. We need smart and forward-looking politicians who can manage the unknown and provide conducive environment for economics, for social development, for prosperity for all. We need politicians who can provide room for clean politics that have people, what we call the electorate, at heart, thus making a better future for all. Ladies and gentlemen, may I suggest a future that we are looking into requires a new political engagement that will focus more on substance, issues of development, progress, other than the politics of stomach and personal gains. We need to encourage people of integrity to take up political office as part of their calling to save humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just pause here. Time has come, not for you just to keep on pointing hands. Time has come, if you feel passionate about politics and you feel ready and you have what it takes to get into the arena. I am sick and tired of people who wait until politicians make mistakes and then they begin to point. My question is, where were you? You have what it takes. You wait until they mess up our lives, they mess up our future, that's when you come in. No. Time to come in is now. You may be on the platform. Maybe this is a prophetic word to some of you here. It's time to get involved because that's an investment that we are making. Smart thinkers, creative leaders, change makers need to enter into the political arena and start building a new kind of politics that will bring enthusiasm, passion, involvement, thus making our continent and the world a safer place. A question was raised this afternoon during the discussion that we had. Is there hope for Africa? And the concluding answer that we came across was, yes, there is hope in Africa. But don't wait for hope to come outside Africa. Hope must come here. Those who are coming outside must just help us, to take Africa into the future. As I'm coming to landing, ladies and gentlemen, another aspect that we need to prepare for the future is the power of vision. Leading into the future requires a vision that will not only take us from here to there, but also bringing, like in the words of Morgan Freeman, as he's advertising on Turkish Airlines, he says, bringing there to here. That's vision. We're used to talking about vision as going from here to there. But also vision is bringing there to here. Making the future a reality today. Bringing the unknown into our present. It is very, very important that we take this, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas Stewart said, the law of flotation was not discovered by contemplating the sinking of things. The law of flotation was not discovered by the contemplation of the sinking of things. Leading into the future entails visualizing possibilities despite the current circumstances and situations that we face. Seeing beyond the visible horizon requires the courage to dream and to see what is possible. In order to prepare for this unknown future, we need visionary leaders who can translate vision into reality and move us forward. It is very, very important. Vision. What are we seeing? That picture, the bigger picture. Moving from our own small stories into the bigger story of Africa, the bigger story of our countries, the bigger story of our families. It's very, very important that we do that. Leading into the future, therefore, requires that we use the power of vision to produce more entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs who can be able to take the risk into the business world and make it happen. It also requires for us to allow an innovative spirit, creating room for more innovators who would pioneer new things and explore new paths, new methods, new models, new systems, new possibilities to help us achieve what seemed to be impossible in the past. Number 5, having a proactive approach. Leading into the unknown future, we need a proactive and preventive approach than waiting only to be reactive. Africa has been known to react to situations. We react. Ebola, we react. COVID, we react. Time has come for us to challenge ourselves. Let us be proactive. Let's use the brains of our scientists. Actually, amazingly, do you know what happened during COVID? That actually our scientists, it was discovered that our scientists in Africa flagged the warning first about COVID in Netherlands. And those were South Africans scientists. They are the ones who flagged that. But history has not written on that. I think we need to write it. They were proactively flagging, but because of fear of the outcome of that flag, they kept the flag under the chair. When COVID came into the fall, that's when they said, well, actually, look at what we wrote. Look at what we researched. I am saying let's challenge ourselves. Let's produce what needs to be produced. Let there be dragons and monsters. Who cares? Time has come for us to say, well, if they challenge what we've written, that's okay. We're going to defend that. And then, thinking strategically. Let's think strategically about this future. When we want to prepare for the unknown, we start with what we have seen, what we have experienced in the past, whether failure or success. We look at what we are seeing now, both in terms of what we are good at and what we are not good at. Then we give room to dreams that could be possible in the future. For us to adequately prepare for the future, we need to provide time for thinking strategically. Thinking strategically. Because when you think strategically, you engage strategically. It's very, very important. These strategic roadmaps that we create will become a visualization of the unknown, the future. Elon Musk. Are you familiar with that name? It is floating everywhere. I mean, this is the founder and CEO of SpaceX and now a major shareholder of Twitter. It's just one example of strategic thinkers who are creative in terms of creating strategic roadmaps. And you know what he has done. Yes, you and me may say, well, we don't agree with Elon Musk's current political stance. But the truth is, and the truth of the matter is, that he makes things happen. I'm sure Nike should give him, a brand. Just do it. Just do it. He's just doing it. He's wreaking havoc, in the business world. And now he's tempering the protected American politics. Just do it. I think we need those kind of people. If you want a future, it's not just going to arrive by us folding our arms. We need people who dare the dragons. Let there be dragons who dare the future, who dare the unknown, and say, we are going to be there. And then lastly is flexibility. If there is something that I've learned from COVID, ladies and gentlemen, is to be flexible. You cannot be static anymore or any longer. COVID has taught us we need to be flexible in terms of our working times, in terms of our working space, where we operate our businesses. Flexibility is the new norm. Because if you're not, you're going to drown. So as we prepare for the future, flexibility will bring about relaxation and the ability to handle their unknown situations well. If you're not flexible, it's going to be a problem. Because flexibility is a new kind of taking the risk into the future, stepping in there. May I conclude, every second of time that passes and ticks, ladies and gentlemen, we are drawn further and further into the unknown, challenging us to face the imaginary dragons and monsters, and providing us with an enormous opportunity to discover what we are made of. Just like the psalmist is able to say, we are fearfully and wonderfully made to take on the unknown future. We can't prepare more. We can't prepare less, because the future, whether you like it or not, is already here. I thank you.